I really thought that Gilbert Burns was going to be someone to dethrone Kamaru Usman, but it just didn't happen today.
Welcome to the Last Set podcast, where we talk about all things health and fighting.
What did you think of that fight?
That was a good entry.
That
I'll
was
give you
good.
that. That was a good.
What did you think of the fight?
Well, first off, I'm just going to ask you a question real quick. Do you think there should be a time limit, or is there a time limit? If someone's on their back on the ground for a certain amount of time, should they be stood up?
No, I don't think there should be a time limit because ultimately it's their decision to go down, knowing that Gilbert Burns, he's trying to look tired, and then when he drops down to the ground, we've seen similar plays with Nate Diaz being predominantly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and after they'll take a shot, they'll kind of just let the momentum carry themselves. Not that he didn't get hit with big shots and he wasn't rocked, but they try to recover by going on the ground, bottom shuffle back, and then they try and entice their opponent to come hop into guard, and then they can start messing around on the ground and get a submission. It's a lot easier than quickly standing up, because while they're standing up, it's quite easy for an opponent like Kamaru Usman to just cut the distance and even a head kick as soon as he comes up. So we did see that Kamaru Usman, as soon as Gilbert, it wasn't looking like Kamaru was going to go down and meet Gilbert there.
He didn't want to grapple. He didn't want to grapple at all with him.
No, and I think he knew that I think publicly in interviews this week, he'd already said, Gilbert does pose a threat on the ground. Yeah. And Tyron Woodley, who is, trained with Gilbert Burns and things like that, has said, I think Gilbert Burns is the better grappler.
Yeah. Even Gilbert said openly in a interview that Kamaru knows I can tap him out. So that's probably why he just didn't want him to have any chance, or he didn't want to play into his game. One thing I was quite impressed with was the Gilbert Burns. One thing I love about him is that he's very entertaining right from the very start. He's very aggressive. Literally in the first couple of minutes of the first round, he already, I'm not sure if he call it a knockdown, but he hit Kamaru hard enough that he actually had to fall down, and Kamaru had to use his hands to catch himself. So I thought that was really impressive right off the bat, and then Kamaru managed to recover and then get back up and then continue to fight. There was a lot of very heavy punches being thrown. And then there was a lot of, when Gilbert was on the ground, there was a lot of Kamaru just kicking at him. And then at one point, Gilbert tried to throw a fancy kick and try and kick him from the ground up.
It was a capoeira switch kick. That's what he was trying to do. And it's a very it is a really powerful kick. I've seen it done before coming up. It's brilliant for those that are have done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Some of them have also dabbled in capoeira, and it actually works really well from a transition standpoint. If he's got his base on the ground and he looks like he's about to get up, he can post one of his feet up and use that to jump up and do a capoeira switch kick. It looked like some of Gilbert's plan was, I think he already preemptively thought he was going to get dropped. I think he already knew that, because as soon as he went on the ground, he started trying to entice him to come join him on the ground if he could, try and get that out of Kamaru. But Kamaru's he sticks to a game plan very well. But Gilbert was also going towards Kamaru's knees. Now we know, and he'll know that full well, Kamaru's knees, shit, they're horrific. He has to do cardio on an assault bike because he can't run.
Yeah,
he can't run at all. He can't run on pavement. It must be on grass.
Yeah.
Or walk on grass.
He does a lot of swimming as well.
Does a lot of swimming. I've seen that he's done the swimming with the water weights that I think GSP often used as well for a bit of aerobic conditioning. But it looked like he already preemptively thought he was going to get taken down. It's just Kamaru stuck to a good game plan. The first round was aggressive. We already knew that with Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns was going to come take the fight to Kamaru Usman. Now, that second round, it started to shift. Kamaru Usman seems to have this following pattern where, as he gets closer and closer to these championship rounds, he's got so much more in him. so much more in the tank. He starts to land heavier and heavier shots, starts to sit down on those shots more and more. He even had some brilliant body shots as well as plenty of body kicks. I just thought Kamaru did very, very well against someone I thought stylistically was going to be his worst matchup to date.
Well, one thing I was quite impressed with is Gilbert Burns Kamaru Usman's very good at fighting from the southpaw stance.
He can do both.
Yeah.
He made that very clear. He likes to. He can do it in either stance.
Well, yeah, because the reason why I stated that was because he knocked Gilbert down quite a few times over the coming rounds, and then it was the final straw that broke the camel's back was when he hit him from the jab from the southpaw stance that sort of knocked him down, and then he tried to just finish the fight, with an aggressive style ground pound, and then as Gilbert tried to get back up, when Kamaru knocked him back down, and then Herb Dean called off the fight, which was very, very reasonable considering, what is it? When you get knocked down a few times, you know what I mean? The referee then is very, very hesitant because the one thing that distinguishes, boxing and from, MMA is that they always give them like the 10-second count unless it's a 3 knockdown rule. And then there's a certain way, that Herb Dean stated openly in a fight, like some guys will never get knocked out, but they'll get knocked down more times in a fight, which is worse. And when it comes to, I see a fighter get knocked down 2 or 3 times, I have to just be the one to call it, to wave it off. And because it was the 3rd time that Gilbert got knocked down, I understand why Herb Dean would have called it off. Because the thing is, man, you always see those people in the comment section of every fight saying, "Oh God, early stoppage." I'm like, no, he's there to protect the fighter from himself.
Yeah, there's only some circumstances where there are early stoppage, and there are some ones that can be early stoppages. But for this instance, I think, yes, it could have gone a couple, a couple more seconds a little bit later, but I don't feel the final result would have changed. I think Gilbert, Kamaru, even when he dropped Gilbert, when Kamaru just started to sit more on his punches in the 2nd and 3rd round, he dropped Gilbert, and then Kamaru, it's better than what Kamaru usually does. Kamaru sometimes will just punch him in the foot and things like that, which isn't the most significant strike. But he was kicking him in the back of the legs, and then whenever he could, he would try and grab both ankles, toss them to the side, and drop down with a hard body shot onto the stomach. And you could see that hurt Gilbert in the 2nd round because Gilbert started to go, "Oh shit, I don't want to be on the ground," and absorb more blows like that. And then in the 3rd, Gilbert made no attempt to get back up. He stayed on the ground, and that's when Kamaru just cut the distance even more, came on the side and just put in vicious ground and pound. He was whipping Gilbert's head back, and it looked like Gilbert wasn't out, but he was absorbing a lot of unanswered shots because it's not even like he had any form of shell. He didn't have his hands up, or he wasn't evading anything, or going for a submission, or maybe jumping up, going for a single leg, bringing him down to the ground so he can be in a more advantageous position. He wasn't doing anything. He was just absorbing shots. So it seemed like perhaps he was stunned, not knocked out, but he was absorbing a shit ton of punishment. And I think it was the correct stoppage. The upsetting thing to me is that, I honestly thought that Gilbert, out of anyone in the welterweight division, was the worst matchup for Kamaru, just based on the amount of rounds they've done with each other. His striking is so fluid. His kicks are brutal. I've watched his strength and conditioning. The dude knows how to work. And he was conditioned. It's just Kamaru Usman isn't known to be a striker. Now we're starting to see he's started to improve his striking ability and the ability to, box under pressure. Usually, sometimes when in the past when he was been boxing and he noticed that he was against a much higher level striker, he would start to panic wrestle, which he doesn't do now.
Yeah.
I thought it was an incredible fight. I'm just bummed that Gilbert did so well in the 1st round. I think that Gilbert still is Kamaru's greatest